Welcome back. You're watching Business Morning on Channels Television. We're on the last lap of the show now, and we're still talking about the Central Bank of Nigeria and the economy. Dr. Boniface Chizia is still here with me in the studio. Thank you so much for sticking around.
Thank you, Harriet, for having me.
So just before we went on that break, I interrupted your thoughts with regards what should be done right now. What do you think should the CBN should do right now?
Yes,
sorry, let me just make this point.
Yeah.
Because there's no cabinet in the office, and then there's little or no clarity on economic issues, and the Central Bank of Nigeria is trying to, as much as possible, hold its own end of monetary policies and the rest of it, with no fiscal, policies really coming out. So it's really, really a tough job.
I think they are spot on there. If you say that, for instance, you need to have to run this economy and run it effectively, run it efficiently. It has to be complementarity between the fiscal and monetary policy. There's no two about it. Now, if you are running on one leg, that means you're running on monetary policy, which is what it has been so far. And then so it's like somebody's working on your foot. So that's the point. But we expect that that's going to be corrected soon. Like the president has said, that it's promised the nation and said it in international overseas that he's going to put his cabinets in place. I would expect that when that happens, then you should have policies and that will begin to come out. But then I could speak, and if we'll talk about body language, so we read the body language of the president, and from what's happening so far, and if you look at some of the statements by the vice president, and you can see that certainly the policy is going to go towards reflecting the economy. The vice president talks about these meals in schools and so on and so forth, and how that could also lead to creating multiplier effect, creating jobs and so on and so forth. And the president himself, is also on record saying that unemployment, something that one of the things he wants to tackle. So if you want to be pro-poor, there's no second sight, saying that which way the policy is going to go. This policy, when it's going to come, maybe you call me back here and then we'll discuss again. It's going to be reflationary, and that's what's going to happen. And so if that is the case, we're waiting for that to happen, because then we're not trying to second guess. Now, we would expect that when that MPC meeting, we would expect that between now and the next one, the cabinet will be in place. And I would expect that they should start thinking about reflating the economy. I mean, for instance, let's take interest rates. Interest rates, they are not sustainable, the rate at which they are in this economy. Now, but having said that, now I'm very careful, because there's something that happens here, which I find it difficult sometimes to comprehend. That when you say interest rates should drop, some people think that, interest rates should drop 3%, and that you just do it overnight. And so it's like a tap, you shut the thing, you turn it on, and it's not so. Okay, so interest cannot fall below the rate of inflation to start with. And if you look at what goes into calculating interest rates, now you're talking of inflation, because if it falls below rate of inflation, then you're going to discourage people who have money. They're not going to save their money.
But people are already discouraged anyway.
Yeah, okay, discouraged, because you are saving money, you're paying an inflation tax. If you're getting an interest that's below the inflation rate. And they have to cover their costs of operations. The NDIC premium and so on and so forth, the internet and so on, the cost of, the environmental cost, then the risk aspect. So the risk return. So what risk, you have to cover it, and then you have to earn a profit. And so, yes, but what we are saying is that there's nothing wrong with MPC leaving their meeting the next week, say we'll reduce it by, say, 2%.
That's the NPR.
Yes, NPR. Let it just be indicative.
But like you just rightly mentioned, a lot of things go into ensuring that, or a lot of things go into calculating the interest rates, calculating the interest rates. So if for any reason now the Monetary Policy Committee decides that interest rates should come down, why do you think it will, or how do you think it will affect the economy? Will it be will it be welcome? Because even at the end of the day, banks are still going to be giving interest rates giving loans and collecting interest rates at a very high rate.
Well, no interest rate. Well, I think that the MPC better take the hint. I'm telling you, because this president is going to come in and then begin to interfere. You see, the central bank has autonomy. It has instrument autonomy. That means the central bank has been given a mandate. It's been charged with maintaining price and exchange rate stability. And it's been allowed. But the autonomy says use whatever instruments you want to use to do this. Now, if you don't take the hint, like I've just spoken here, that we want to reflate this economy and begin to reduce interest rates, don't do it, the president is going to come in and step in and begin to also cause problem for everybody.
But what is on ground right now that would give the central bank or the Monetary Policy Committee that impetus that, okay, you know what, let's reduce the interest rates at this time. It's going to be in the best interest to reflate the economy, as the case may be. And analysts are analysts are anticipating that these interest rates are going to come down, even if it's by 0.5%. Let there be a shift.
Yeah, on the public space, I communicate a lot and so on. When Barack Obama came to power in 2008, he faced worse situation. The crisis we had then emanated from America. And when he came to power, most of us were very sympathetic that for the first time you're having a black man come into the White House and he's going to be challenged. Faces a challenge. What has happened so far? What did Barack Obama do? He spent his way out of the problem. The car companies in Detroit, they were going to shut down. He refused to allow them to shut down, except those mortgage institutions that didn't have any trust that had to close. And I watched television, and I had somebody who said he was going to vote for him for his extension, 10-year extension, because he saved his job. And I'm saying that this is what we have to do in this country. We follow inflation, and inflation, you reflate the economy, and inflation will come, you increase productivity, you grow jobs, and then you get yourself out of inflation.
So how should the September decision now be influenced by the U.S. Fed Reserve's decision, for instance, to hold rates at the current prices, and ECB's bond buying program, and of course the issues that are coming up from China?
Well, the rates, the issue of the rates in America, for us, once it's not going up, it's good news, because you see, you're looking at the risk and the return, and so once it's going up in America, and the risk is not as much as it is coming here. And then it means that where you have, there's going to be reverse flow of investment. Okay, and so it's not. Once they say it's, look, we are keeping it where it is, and we're not going to increase it. We are happy here. All right, and also, what was the other of your question?
The ECB bond buying program as well.
Well, bond buy program. You just said DMO just issued its bond, and it was oversubscribed. Because they have no. We don't have any issues with JP Morgan. I did an article and I lambasted them. They made a loss of $2 billion. Yes, they made a loss of $2 billion. Let them go and take care of their own business and leave us here alone.
Okay, comment on this if you will. This is from @Ikpems. He says, relaxing CRR for private sector as quid pro quo for the harsh effect of TSA is a one-sided policy.
Who's saying that?
One of our viewers on Twitter.
Oh, I don't know about that. All I'm saying is that, if they're draining liquidity from the system, that's the strategy. You're draining liquidity from the system. You just told me there's 1.2 trillion naira left to the system for this treasury TSA, which in fact is something we should have done long ago. It's been on the cards since 2012. Okay.
So now with the exit of that, do you think there should be a readjustment also on the CR private sector deposits? I think.
Yes. I think so, because they need more liquidity. Look, and we're talking about replenishing this economy. The banks have to go out there and begin to book credit. If you take the balance sheet of any bank and do an analysis of their income, you find that predominant aspect of their earning is from fees, not interest income. Banks have to do more of financial intermediation. We need to extend credit to critical sectors of this economy to grow this economy.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Boniface Chizia, for coming on the program and sharing your thoughts with us. It's been an interesting conversation.
Thank you very much for having me, Harriet.
Boniface Chizia is an economist, and of course he's been sharing his thoughts and expectations on the outcome of the Monetary Policy Committee, which begins on Monday next week. It's going to be an interesting one, although the markets are heaving a sigh of relief. They're still going to be holding or sleeping with one eye open as they wait for the MPC's decision on key rates. Of course, so we also know that the president has given his support to the Central Bank of Nigeria with regard its stance on the Naira. There's no talk about any further devaluation. And so all of this is going to come to play as the meeting begins on Monday. Of course, Business Morning will keep an eye on that story. You can follow us and continue the conversation online. Our various social media handles. I'm Harriet Agbini. Have a profitable week and a great weekend.